Hi there, it's Sophie Aldred here, and I played Ace in Doctor Who, and I just want to say hello there to Dr. Freedom.
Okay, good evening everyone, I'm Dr. Freedom, and tonight we've had the opportunity to have some of the guys come in and have a talk with Sophie. How you doing, Sophie?
Yeah, great, thank you. Very good. Raring to go.
All right, let me introduce everybody real quick. First up, we have Tim Keep, aka BeefHead, and you're from London, right, Beef?
That's right, yeah, South London.
Okay, Matt Rose, you already know.
Yes. Hello, from Coventry. Hello.
And we got William Medina from New York.
How you doing, Sophie?
I'm very good, thank you. Oh, I love your New York accent. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I know you have some questions you wanted to ask Sophie, so heck, let's start with BeefHead. You go ahead and go first.
One of the things that really intrigued me, just reading a little bit about your history and everything like that, is that you got your equity card working in the Northern Working Men's Clubs of the country. And part of it was singing as well.
It was.
So what was your stock-in-trade singing, or what was one of the funniest things that must have happened to you working in such a varied atmosphere as that must have been?
It really was, and it was an education for me because I came from, middle class southeast London. I didn't even know working men's clubs existed, so yeah, for me it was a real baptism of fire. I didn't really open my mouth because I sounded too posh. So my friend Paul, who was my kind of partner in crime, he did all the talking because he's a Mancunian and he's very funny as well. So that was good. But yeah, really what we did was we were dressed in sort of, well, I had this 1950s dress with like little straps and a kind of very full skirt. Blue and yellow and white dress. He had a kind of 50s suit, and we sang Everly Brothers, sort of 50s and 60s stuff. Bit of Beatles, as I remember, sort of, that kind of thing, and it was great. We sang in harmony, and we'd have the backing us up, so that we'd have the drums and the really great guys. They'd say, "Where's your dots?" You give them the music, and they just stick it on the keyboards, and away they would go. And I guess all sorts of things happened to us. We met some amazing people. There were lots of Elvis singer likes, and there was a couple of quite elderly guys who tottered onto the stage once in sort of pork pie hats and suits, and they must have been in their kind of 60s, I guess, and they'd been doing the rounds for years and years. And the band struck up and they started out, "They tried to tell us we're too young," which was quite amusing because they clearly weren't. So that was
Hello, Sophie, you there?
hello. Oh, hurrah.
Okay. Could you repeat that last bit? We lost you around tap dancing.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. So we just started kind of tap dancing away, and eventually the power came back on and we could sing again. But you had to just be prepared for anything and everything. So it was a great education because it just meant that I felt as though I could deal with pretty much anything after that.
Oh, that's great. No, thanks for that. Yeah, no, it sounds like a real confidence booster and everything like that. I suppose, yeah, you can deal with anything that comes your way after that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, next up, Will, go ahead.
Well, one quick question. It will be have you ever thought of getting the gold badge from Blue Peter to put on your jacket?
Oh, now that would be a thing, wouldn't it? Yeah. That's kind of a bit like, for me, that would be like getting an Oscar, actually. It's that kind of important, isn't it? Yeah, but you kind of have to have done something so special for that, like Olympic champions get the gold one, and sort of people who've. So you never know. I might one of these days do something amazing and get a gold blue Peter badge. That would be nice.
But you already are doing something special with all the charity work you do.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think though, to be honest, because of course it's not me, it's Ace's. So I don't know whether Ace really was gold blue Peter badge type, unless, of course, she made a kind of pit stop in the TARDIS at the BBC, and they gave her a gold blue Peter badge for her travels around the universe and her kind of expertise with a baseball bat against Daleks. Maybe she could get one for that.
Okay, next up, go ahead, Matt.
Well, hello, Sophie. Well, this is about two of your new projects on Big Finish. You're appearing in Theatre of War later this year, which is adapted by Justin Richards, and The Confessions of Dorian Gray. How does it feel to be a part of two iconic series, two iconic ranges coming up?
Oh, it's great. Well, also the thing is, it's really nice to be asked to do something a bit different. I mean, although I absolutely adore playing the character of Ace, obviously, it's nice to do something a little bit different. So yeah, Dorian Gray. I mean, what a great series and what a great thing to be involved with. So that's really good. And then Theatre of War. Well, that's amazing because that was one of the Virgin New Adventures books written by Justin, and he's adapted it obviously for Big Finish. And so I really enjoyed it. I always enjoy going back to these novelizations, like also we just did Love and War as well a couple of years ago. That was Paul Cornell. And it's always great to kind of revisit a story that was kind of going around, I mean, roughly about the same time as the TV series, a little bit afterwards. So I thoroughly enjoyed recording both of them. It was great.
Okay, back to you, Beef.
Well, the other thing I wanted to ask as well is because you just do so much. You do so much on the convention circuit. You do all the Big Finish stuff. Now you're doing Strangeness in Space, which is a huge thing. All yourself and everything like that. You're doing the horror film that's coming up as well. Yeah, you've got your family. How do you find all the time? And is there anything else that you want to do that you think that you could fit into your time frame that you've yet to do?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I mean, I schedule everything thoroughly. And sometimes, I don't have much time off. But I do manage to squeeze it all in. And I think, well, what I've just done actually recently is I've got myself a theatrical agent for the first time in 16 years. And so I'm kind of just thinking of, I want to dip my toe back in the visual stuff now. I've been doing audio for all these years. I have done, as you say, a short film called The Sitter, which is coming out soon, and I've done, but I mean, that was a tiny part in that, and also a cameo in a film called Search for Simon, which came out a couple of years ago, which was a science fiction comedy feature film, and I just enjoyed doing those so much that I thought, you know what, I'd quite like to do a bit more of this. So I've got myself an agent, and we're just looking into what's around and whether anybody remembers me.
Drama. I could see you in a costume drama, personally.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, well, you tell somebody.
Oh, don't worry, I'll tell everyone.
Thanks.
Okay, back to you, William.
I was just thinking, have you ever thought of writing stories for Big Finish that does not have to have the Seventh Doctor and Ace? I mean, other Doctors or other story like Gallifrey, or even Dark Shadows, or the other things that you could write for.
Yeah, I mean, I have written a bit. I used to write reviews for SFX magazine, and I wrote articles, and then I wrote the book with Mike Tucker on Ace, the inside story of the end of an era, which was like a sort of scrapbook of our time on Doctor Who. But to be honest, I'm not as keen a writer as I am an actor. And I just take my hat off to the Doctor Who writers. You know, it's extraordinary what they do. The thing is, I'm not well versed enough in the canon to do a Big Finish, I don't think. And I've never written a script before. Well, not since I was a kid, so I wouldn't know where to start. But to be honest, it's not something that fires me up as much as performing and doing voiceovers and stuff like that. So I don't know, never say never, but yeah, not at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, back to you, Matt.
We never got a definitive end to your character Ace. Would you like to, of course, bring her back on screen with, I don't know, Mr. Capaldi, of course?
Oh yeah, I mean that would be great, wouldn't it? Because nobody ever really knew what happened to Ace. She's had a lot of plausible sort of possible endings. You know, I think she's died a few times, and well, it was mooted that she was going to go to Gallifrey to train to be a time lady, and all sorts of things. And then Russell T Davies in the Sarah Jane Adventures, he wrote that she was working for a charitable Earth, I think it was called. So yeah, there's lots of possibles. So I'd love to go back and sort of find out what happened to her. That would be great.
Okay, back to you, Beef.
Strangeness in Space. I'm waiting. I don't know if you're able to tell us when the first one's going to hit or how far along you are with it. Also, you know, you must have a sort of the amount of people you've got on board with it so far. I mean, you've got Trevor and Simon, who I remember fantastically growing up in the 80s anyway. I was lucky to meet them once when I went on Going Live years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, it was after a Children in Need, though, so it was probably a late night, and they're probably the worst to wear. But, yeah, you've got Rufus Hound, you've got you know, Carol from the Python team. Is there someone else on you have as a wish list guest that you would like to get on in the future, or you know?
Well, we've been incredibly lucky. Oh, Doon McKeekan we've got as well, obviously from the Day to Day and Smack the Pony and so on. It all came about because we're all friends of each other. You know, Doon as well. We were all Claire Eden, who's the executive producer, Trev, Simon, myself, and Doon. We're all at Manchester University together. So that's why we've always wanted to do something together. And then Trev and Simon wrote these fantastic couple of scripts. The first one is sort of, it's imminent. I can't give you a precise date, but it should be out pretty soon. So yeah, we're very excited about it.
And the funding on the second, are you there? Or?
Yeah, we've managed to kind of, you know, start work on the second episode. So we're going to be able to offer that. And so you were saying about casting. I mean, to be honest, we haven't really had many ideas because people have just come to us. Like Rufus got involved because he tweeted something and said, "Oh, I'd love to be involved with this." And Simon got back to him and said, "Really? Are you serious?" And he said, "Yeah, I'd love to." So we said, "Well, have a part." And then, you know, we've got we were just kind of bandying names around, and Carol as well, Carol Cleveland. She did a part in the Search for Simon film that I did a couple of years ago, and I met her a couple of times, really liked her. And so we were talking about this particular voice, and it really is a tiny cameo. And I said, "Oh, I wonder if Carol Cleveland would do it." And Simon and Trev just went, "Whoa, what? Carol Cleveland?" You know. So I just rang her up, and she said, "Yeah, I'll come and do that." And it was lovely. So we're hoping it's going to be a bit like the Big Finish and Doctor Who thing, where people want to come on and, you know, come and do a little part for us. And I think that's I mean, they're also very good actors, so, you know, it's lovely to be working with people of that caliber.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear it.
Well, it's so funny, because I was sent a kind of another mix of it the other day with all the music added, and I got really excited about it. But I'm a bit too close to it now. I can't actually tell whether it's funny anymore, because I thought it was really funny when I read the scripts, and we've had a laugh doing it, but now it's kind of quite nerve-wracking time, because it's like, oh, it's nearly ready, what other maybe it's not funny at all, and maybe people won't like it. But in fact, we have tried it out sneakily on a few people of all ages, actually, and people seem to really like it, so that bodes well.
Okay, back to you, William.
Are you making any recent appearance in any conventions after this week in the U.S. or England?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot this year. If you go on my website, which is Sophie Aldred, www.sophiealdred.com, then you can have a look there. There's a list, and then there's dates kind of being added all the time. I'm doing something in let me have a look. I'm doing something in Cardiff in August. I've just come back from June. Was very hectic because I had one every weekend. I did a science fiction convention in Watford, and then I went to Indianapolis for a weekend, came back, did Herne Bay with Sylvester, and then I've just come back. No, sorry, Seattle first, and then came back, did Herne Bay, and then went off to Indianapolis and got back from that last week. So I've just had a weekend off, which has been great. And then I'm doing quite a few of the Comic-Cons, actually. So I'm going to Manchester in a few weeks' time.
Thank goodness you need to have
that one.
Well, you need next weekend off. You need it off.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I do. Yeah,
you need
a bit
it.
of a break.
No, you need it. It is your wedding anniversary.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, do you know what? I'm on a course next weekend, so my poor husband is going to be on his own. Poor thing, but I'll make it up to him somehow.
As long as he has a microwave, I think he'll be fine.
Oh no, he's a pretty good cook, actually. So
Ooh.
yeah, he'll be all right.
Okay, back to you, Matt.
Now, you've had the chance to work with some magnificent actors who've played the Master, Anthony Ainley, Jeffrey Beavers. Would you like Ace to come up against the current incarnation played by Michelle Gomez?
Oh, that would be amazing. I've always loved her. Ever since Green Wing. Do you know that program? I don't know whether you've seen that in America. But she's always struck me as the kind of, I don't know, she's just such a quirky, fabulous actress. I've never met her in real life, and that would be great to meet her. I just thought she did the Master so beautifully, because the Master his character is slightly unhinged, and he's got that sort of mad genius, kind of craziness about him, and I just think she got that totally. Plus the fact her wonderful costume, the sort of mad Mary Poppins look. That was just brilliant. And I've seen quite a few people at conventions who've replicated that costume, and it's just such a nice thing to see. I think it was a brave move, and it really paid off.
Okay, back to you, Beef.
Right, I'll ask a question about conventions then, because obviously you've done them for quite a while now. So you've seen a big change from how it was from when after the show stopped, since it's come back. And Ace was always popular, certainly with the ladies, because she broke the mould insofar as companions were concerned, and sort of set a precedent for those that have come after. And that's such a fantastic part. Now the show's come back. Are you finding that there's perhaps a younger audience now that are revisiting the older series and emulating Ace, or cosplaying Ace, more recognition?
Yeah, I've been completely delighted, actually, because there's a lot of cosplayers who are doing Ace now. I think that's partly also due to the fact that you can see very easily on the internet, what the costume looked like, and somebody, I don't know who it was, but they've done a service to Ace fans by detailing the badges on the jacket, and people are accessing them on the internet as well. So you can go into great detail with that. Yeah, the cosplay. I think the character still appeals to young women and girls who who want something a bit more from their companion. Who are kind of, I don't know. It's sort of, she's got this appeal to the tomboys, of course. I've seen, I mean, every age really, and also men. I've seen men cosplaying Ace, which is great. Some of them with better legs than mine, which is, and yeah, I think, well, the youngest I've seen so far was, I think the baby was about 6 months old, and they dressed her up in a little Ace costume, and that was amazing.
Okay, back to you, William.
When you on the studio for reading the script for the big finish, and have you ever noticed that something might be wrong written about Ace, and you can say, hey, she won't do this or say this? Do you have any input on that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. If there's something wrong, then rest assured we do something about it. Sylvester included, his incarnation of the Doctor. So for example, sometimes people suggest that Ace screams, and no, that's never going to happen. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. So yeah, that's never going to happen. And yeah, so there will be stuff that sometimes it just doesn't sit quite right with Ace's vocabulary. And of course, I do feel like I know this character pretty well by now. So that's great fun. And of course, everybody is just so wonderful on the big finishes, and often the directors as well will go, "Oh, that doesn't sound quite Ace-ish, do you think? What do you think?" So it's a kind of it's a bit of a collaboration as well. Often the writer is there too, and we'll just completely, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine, or we'll think of something else to say. Or it doesn't often happen, I have to say, because the writers are so well versed in the characters and the folklore of Doctor Who. But on the odd occasion, there'll be something, and yes, we will change it.
Okay, back to you, Matt.
Next year, Big Finish have announced a nice little new trilogy that has you, Sylvester, and Bonnie Langford. What's it like being with the crew that was only in Dragonfire and come back to that?
Well, it's great. Whenever I see Bonnie, it's always wonderful. She was so great to me when we did Dragonfire. She really helped me out because, of course, I'd never done any TV before, and I'd never been to TV Centre, and we saw each other at a convention actually not that long ago, and it's just like we get on really well, and Bonnie she's a wonderful person. She's got a fantastic sense of humour. She's great fun to be with, So yeah, it's wonderful to see her whenever I do.
Okay, back to you, Beef.
Oh, goodness gracious me! Right, I'm trying to think of something that maybe someone hasn't asked you ever before, because I'm sure you've been asked hundreds of questions. It's always one that I like to ask people because you didn't necessarily know that when you finished the show was going to stop there. Did you ever nab yourself a souvenir? Or something that you said, oh, can I keep this? And you take this home and it has a pride of place in the Aldred household. A trinket or a token.
Well, funnily enough, I was asked this question I don't know if you know, Lala Ward does a lot of work for a charity called Denville Hall, which is a retirement home for actors and actresses. And she does an annual convention to raise funds for it. And I was at that one, I think it was last year or maybe even the year before, and there were loads of us companions sitting there all together on the stage, starting with Carol Ann Ford, you know, right through. And we were asked this question, and Carol said, well, no, I didn't have anything because, you know, in those days, it was just in and out, and we didn't realise it was going to have such longevity and everything. And then it went through to, you know, well, there was Janet Fielding there, and yeah, and she said, well, I wouldn't really have wanted any of my costumes, you know, because she's never been particularly backward in coming forward about the fact that she didn't like her costumes very much. And then it came to me, and I said, okay,
I've got loads of stuff.
I've got a bit of Ice World. I've got a grenade from Curse of Fenric. I've got this. I've got that. I've got the other. And the companions all just looked at me and went, "You are a thief!" And I guess the best things I have, really, I've got bits of my costume. I've got the portrait from Silver Nemesis, which hangs in our guest bedroom. And I guess the best thing of all is that I've got my jacket.
Awesome. Okay, you next, William.
Sophie, you said like everything you do, like from Big Finish and family and all that, is scheduled ahead of time. What happens if like say an illness came up like that? How is the schedule rearranged?
That's a very good question. I mean, there has been the odd time when people haven't been well.
And you being a mother too.
Yeah, I mean, it's never really been an issue, thank goodness. Actually, the only time when it has been an issue was I was doing a series of, I think it was Noddy. I was doing an animation, and I was meant to be down in London, and we were up in Edinburgh for the festival, and my husband had an accident, and he had to go to the hospital. And I just, you know, I couldn't leave the boys. I couldn't leave. So we did have to reschedule that one. But oftentimes with what happens with voiceovers is that if you're recording as an ensemble, you actually just end up recording your own lines, just, you know, in another session, and they have to book you for a separate session. So, I mean, I don't know. I've been extraordinarily lucky with that. You know, I don't think I've ever really had anything that hasn't worked, you know, which is a good thing, lucky thing.
Okay, you with us, Matt?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Kept losing connection here.
All right, go on ahead. It's your turn.
Well, Sophie, you've worked with Philip Olivier and Lisa Barrowman in Big Finish. How does it feel to be differentiating with different TARDIS crews?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's always lovely to have a bit of variety, and working with, you know, different people really gives you a different way to play the character, I guess, as well. You know, sort of like Hex will bring out a different Ace than Rain, for example. So, and it was really nice actually, because, you know, being on my own in the TARDIS with the Doctor, it was actually very nice to have some other people there. It's great.
Okay, back to you, Beef.
Okay, you sure there's nothing you want to ask, Brian?
No, I said I'm just mainly letting you guys ask questions this time. So.
Okay, no worries. Has there ever been a part that you've ever thought, oh, do you know what? I'd really like to do that. Really like to do that. Went for it and you didn't get it, or a job that you thought, oh, I'll go for that, or I'll leave it and wish, I wish I'd gone for that. Was there ever a nearly type thing?
Gosh, there were some nearlies. Yeah, I mean, it would have been very different had I. I mean, quite early on, I was offered the part of the Juve lead in The Lion in Winter. It was a sort of a big tour of the play, and I turned it down. I can't remember why, and I think I think that would have sort of set me off on a more of a kind of a theatrical background, really, perhaps. But you never know, do you? You know, it's very interesting. Let's see what else. Oh, I got down to the very close to play Catherine Zeta-Jones's sister in Darling Buds of May.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, that was funny because, you know, she's younger than me and this was to play her younger sister. So I didn't quite see how that was going to work out. What else? There's been very few that I've actually... there's been nothing that I've desperately wanted that I haven't had, I think. I've been, you know, just really... Oh, I'll tell you, actually, yeah.
Please do. Go on.
The thing that really kind of, you know... well, I always wanted to be a Blue Peter girl. Always wanted to be a presenter on Blue Peter, right from being very young. And I didn't audition for it, but I did a program called Corners, and there was one series that I couldn't do because I think it clashed with Doctor Who or something like that. So they auditioned and they chose a newcomer called Diane Louise Jordan. Anyway, we got on really well, and I kind of would bump into her socially. And then years later, she said to me, "Oh, it's such a shame you couldn't do Blue Peter." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, when I went for the audition with the editor, with Lewis Bronze, he said, 'We're looking for a Sophie Aldred type.'" And I thought, well, why didn't they just ask me? Why didn't... I'm a Sophie Aldred type. I could have done it.
Pretty cool. Or I could do a pretty good one, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the only thing I think, oh, I'd love to have had a crack at that.
Okay, back to you, William.
Sophie, have you ever thought of doing any London shows or coming to New York and doing Broadway shows?
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, I would love to get back into to doing some theatre. At the moment, I'm not so keen on doing a long run because obviously I want to be with my family and the boys, although they're 15 and 12, but they kind of I just love being with my family. So I don't want to do anything that takes me away from home for too long, you know. I was offered actually a job in the West End recently, and I was really chuffed to be asked in a revival of a play at the Trafalgar Studios, and I just couldn't do it because I couldn't fit it in. You know, I just had these 2 American trips, and you know, I just couldn't have done it. So I'm hoping that there'll be something that comes up that I can do. And wow, yeah, I mean, I love New York. I haven't been for a while actually, but I've just always loved that city, and I'd love to work there. It'd be great.
Okay, back to you, Matt.
Ooh. Right, here's something a bit different. Do you have any vast memories of working on Dimensions in Time back in 1993?
Yeah, I think for me it was great to go to the EastEnders set for a start. That was fun, and yeah, it was really great to be kind of around all the doctors as well. And yeah, what was another good thing about it was there was one bit that we did in Greenwich, which was very near where I lived at the time. So you know, for me, it was a very short commute down the road, and it was just great fun because John Pertwee was there, and oh, that was great to see him in his doctor's outfit. So yeah, lots of good memories of that. We didn't have anything as glamorous as Winnebagos though, like they do nowadays on Doctor Who. We had we basically changed in the pub toilets down in Greenwich.
Oh, wow. Okay, I know we're coming up on time, so I'm going to ask for one more run of questions. Is that okay, Sophie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we'll go for one more run. Beef, you have any more questions?
I've got two, and I'll be really cheeky, but hopefully if you can do quick answers on them. Number one, if Strangeness in Space does really well, do you think you'd take it on a live tour? And secondly, you see everyone at conventions. Do you guys ever just meet up socially and say, hey, let's go for a big companion dinner where there's about 20 of you, and who leaves the biggest tip?
They're great. Nice questions. Yeah. In answer to the first one, yeah, oh gosh, what a good idea. I hadn't even thought of that. Doing a live Strangeness in Space. That would be a laugh. Yeah, gosh, let's do it. And then the other one, well, I mean, being at a convention, we are all around together, and we're lucky enough to be sort of taken out for meals together and things like that. So, I mean, for example, recently in Baltimore earlier this year, I was with Terry Malloy, Nicola Bryant, Debbie Watling, Nev Fountain, who's a writer, Doctor Who writer, and I think a few others as well. And we just had this lovely day being taken around Baltimore, and we went out for lunch together. We did a lovely seafood restaurant in the Bay Area, and yeah, so we do all really enjoy each other's company. It's great fun.
Okay.
But as for who leaves the biggest tip, I don't know. Sylvester's pretty generous, I have to say.
It's not a case of making the Daleks pay.
That's a good idea.
Well, heck, he's got all that Peter Jackson Hobbit money, come on.
Yeah, true. He can afford it.
Okay, William.
Well, I have no more questions. So I just want to say to Sophie to thank you for this interview that you gave us, and I hope you have a good wedding anniversary on Sunday.
Thank you. That's really great, and thank you so much for reminding me. Now I will go out and get a card.
Oh man.
Okay, Matt. Do you have any more questions?
Well, again, thank you for coming on. Enjoy your anniversary and beat up some more Daleks in the near future.
I will. I'll try not to do that on my anniversary, though. Don't know.
And I
whether
say
that
thank
would
you
go
as well,
down
so
very well.
don't think I'm not saying that, but thank you so much.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, thank you.
Sophie, like I said, I cannot thank you enough for your time, coming on, answering our, these guys' questions for them. And I was, really curious, maybe sometime after Strangeness in Space hits, I'd like to sit down maybe with you, Trev, and Simon, we could just have one big, talk about it. I'd really love to hear more about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That would be really good fun.
Okay, yeah, because from what I'm seeing from the pictures you guys are putting up on Facebook, you're having a really great time doing it, and that's probably the best part. You're going to have some fun with the friends and all.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, I better let you go because I know you've got things to do, and we're already running a little bit over time. So.
And a car to buy.
Okay, so hang on, let's everybody already thanked you and also.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you guys. It's really great, and I love this. I mean, the fact that on a podcast we can be in all different parts of the world, and yet we're all brought together by this one amazing program. It's great.
Okay, thank you again, Sophie. And
okay, thanks.
And I want to thank everybody, all you guys here for coming on, and sparing a little time of your own, ask some questions and whatnot. So, to everyone out there who's listening, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good day. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye, Sophie.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been lovely.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.